it disrupts a person's ability to manage their own emotions, thoughts, and actions. And what we are hoping that you get from this presentation is some ideas of how ADHD works, some ideas and ways that maybe you can decrease some of the ADHD episodes that your child might engage in when you're not really sure why. I am going to go over some commonly prescribed medications, and I want to just say about that, I am not saying that you need to have your child on medication for ADHD, but a lot of parents and teachers and sometimes the older children don't understand that some of those medications produce side effects, which actually can increase some of the behaviors that you are seeing with your child. I'm going to talk about a couple of topics that people mention that are motivators for children and adults with ADHD. And we're going to talk about a couple of topics and ways that you can help your child at home. All right, so ADHD individuals have what's called motivators. And I'm going to describe this in a situation. So if you are angry at your child and you are saying things like, I'm tired of you doing this, or you need to make better grades, you don't get anything until you get your grades up. That's probably something that you would typically say to your child in your house, or if you're out shopping. If you don't stop doing that, then I'm going to take away your Xbox. Or if you don't do what I've asked you to do, then you're not going to be able to go over to your friend's house this weekend. So making comments like that is, to me, what I would say is a normal parenting style. But children with ADHD have 5 motivators. They are interest, novelty, challenge, urgency, and passion. So the quote that I just told you, I'm tired of you doing this, you need to make better grades, you don't get anything until your grades are up. If you are taking those statements, you have lost interest of the child. That's the first motivator for someone with ADHD. The novelty. You have taken the novelty away. Challenge. They might still have a challenge to see who can outlast who if you threaten to take something away. Urgency. You have lost their urgency and their passion. So these are motivators that children and adults with ADHD have. These are a way to motivate someone with ADHD. Find things that interest them and focus on it. ADHD individuals have novelties. And if you have it yourself, you understand that if you find something that you like, you go all in 100%, buy all the things, all the information. That's also sometimes people that are diagnosed with autism and ADHD. There's a little bit of, they really focus on this. That is also a characteristic of someone that's diagnosed with autism. We really like to focus on something that is one specific thing, and we know everything about it. And we go 100% in it, whether it's a sport or an activity. Urgency. We have urgency of things, and we make our emergencies your emergencies because of how impulsive we are. And passion. We can be very passionate about something, and no one else will understand why we are passionate about it. But we can't explain it, and we need you to see it our way and how important it is. And ADHD children and adults love to engage in verbal conflict. And we don't see it as conflict. We see it as passion. We see it as, let me tell you this in my words. And it doesn't matter what you say, because I am the most passionate about it. I know lots of information about it, and I have to tell you all about it. All right. So we must change our parenting style to fit the needs of children with ADHD. So I'm going to give you some few ideas and scenarios that hopefully can help you with that. So the first thing I want to talk about is the medications that you might notice that your child is on, or if you have looked into medications have side effects. And the best thing that you can do if your child is on medication for ADHD, please be in constant contact with the teacher, because side effects of medication are important to have documented. Because when you go to your pediatrician, you can say things like, well, my student is very tired up until about 12 o'clock. And then the teacher say a light switch and my student becomes irritable or agitated, or they say something about their stomach hurts or something like that. These side effects change the mood of your student, because if you remember what we talked about, it's a neurological disorder. So it's something in your brain that turns on that says, I'm irritable, I'm hungry, Um, I'm tired. So some of the normal medications that you might see, and I'm going to go with the brand names because they're much easier to pronounce. So the really large, crazy words up the top, those are the names of the medications. And the information below it is some of the names that you might commonly know it as. And then after that, I put in, according to the um, prescriber's guide, which is the it's the book basically that talks about the side effects of the medication. These are the side effects. So, for instance, like Adderall, some of the side effects for a student on Adderall could be insomnia, exaggeration of tics, irritability, dizziness, anorexia, weight loss, and heart palpitations. And I'm not going to read all of these, but I just want to explain a couple of things and what that means. So, let's say your student is on Adderall. Let's say they receive that in the morning. When you get them up, you're like, I need to get your medicine. You get them going to school, they arrive at school. Well, one of the things about Adderall is students, they're not hungry. And they're not hungry and they're not eating. So your child is going to school not eating. I know they don't say a side effect is hangry, but we all know because we've experienced being hangry before. So this is a child that's medication is suppressing their appetite. They also can, you will notice that they can start losing weight. And for some of our kiddos that are little, that can be difficult and they're not eating. So they're going through the day irritable. They can become tired. They're not fueling their bodies with anything. And you might notice that they pick and snack because they're not very hungry. Insomnia. Most children and adults with ADHD have severe sleeping issues. They do not sleep. They have a hard time falling asleep. They have a hard time staying asleep because, again, ADHD is a neurological issue that has to do with the functions of the brain. And a lot of it is the functioning of the front part, which talks and deals with our emotions and our thought process and our decision making. Other medications like Ritalin, Concerta, Daytrena, methylene, again, insomnia, dizziness, they almost have the same side effects. And some of these medications are given out in the morning and then they might get them at school in the afternoon. Some of these medications are time release where you just give them in the morning. And some of you might have chosen to just give your child the medication possibly during the school days and then they don't go on them on the weekends. So things can all change. So I will just let you know to always talk to your pediatrician and let them know if teachers are saying, hey, in the afternoon, your child is having increase of behaviors, let them know because they're the ones prescribing medication if your child is on medication. So maybe some of the things we will notice has to do with the side effects of these medications. A lot of things you will see cause headaches. Some of our students, especially our students, are not able to communicate the best. A headache can just really just make you upset. Dry mouth. So is a teacher complaining that your child is constantly asking to go to the bathroom? Well, maybe they just need a drink of water because they are on Intuitive or 10X and they are just really thirsty and they don't really understand that. Constipation. These kids think they need to go to the bathroom. Their stomach is hurting. They're constantly going to the nurse. This is something that their medication is causing. So we really need to dive into that. So you will all receive this information in a pamphlet form, and you can look through these medications and see if your child is on a medication, you can look through those side effects and begin that conversation with the teacher to see if you can help with some of the things at school. But I thought maybe it would help with some of the things at home that you might be experiencing. And I know sometimes when you go to a doctor's office, they are like, hey, I have 20 minutes with you. Here's the medication. Go pick it up. Give me your money. And they send you on your way. So I think it's very important to understand that there are side effects of the medication, and you are probably experiencing some of those side effects with your child. And if you do feel important, that it's important, I would definitely recommend talking to your child and letting them know, hey, sometimes your medication can make you tired. Do you feel that you are more tired when I give you your medication? And see if they can talk to you about things like that and why or why not, why they might not be hungry. And maybe there's an opportunity for, hey, maybe I'm going to give you your medication at school after you've eaten breakfast, because I really know that you become irritable on the weekends when you don't eat. So maybe you can change the times like that. But again, I would always caution you to talk to your pediatrician. All right. Children with ADHD and adults with ADHD struggle with authority. ADHD brains crave autonomy. Being told what to do can feel very controlling. It can be triggering. And You're going to experience resistance even when the request is reasonable. This is something that I'm sure you experience as a parent when you give them something reasonable as I just asked you to pick up your plate after you're done eating. The problem is you have just told them what to do, and their brain feels in their control system that you are trying to hijack and control them. So some ways that you can help your child with authority: when a child is being rude or cursing at you, the front part of the brain responsible for emotions that I mentioned before, it's responsible for emotions, reason, logic, and problem solving. That part of their brain is completely hijacked. Their brain has shut off. It has turned off. They are not able to digest what you are saying, how you are saying it, the reward that you might be offering if they would just do something, or the consequence that you have warned them that you are going to give them. That part of their brain is turned off. You do not want to engage with your student. Do not engage with them. I know it's very difficult because you yourself are probably heightened emotions because you asked them to do something very simple, but their brain is hijacked and they're not able to process rewards, consequence, or reason. Or the most important part, because I'm sure it hurt you as a parent, the emotions. The emotions and the words that they are saying are very hurtful. And I know that. I don't love you. I hate you. I don't want to live here. You're so mean to me. If you have a student that maybe you share custody with, I love my other dad better, or you're not my real mom. If you're hearing things like that, please know that at the time, the part of the brain that processes those feelings and the empathy of your brain, it's shut off and it is gone. They are not able to understand that. The first thing that you want to do is de-escalate the behavior. You want to talk through the action that is going to cause danger to you or danger to them. If they're in an area that is close to a road, you do not want to engage in a battle with words with your student, because fight, flight, or freeze in any of those situations where you are going to be dangerous. If they fight you, you're in the middle of the Walmart. That is not going to work. If they leave and take off, now what are you going to do? They have ran away. Or if they freeze, now you're sitting there waiting them out. So you don't want them to get to the part where they have to choose something that they need to do. And those are usually one of the three things that they pick. So what I would say is de-escalate the behavior. Use kind words, use a low volume, a low tone, and just focus on the actions of what they are doing. Then once the behavior is gone and they seem to be in a better mood, or they seem to be not in danger to themselves or others, or they seem to not be throwing you out words and emotions that are hurtful, then you can try to correct the behavior, and you can give the replacement behavior. Hey, instead of screaming in the middle of Walmart because you didn't get the game that I told you we could get, do me a favor and do this next time. Give them something that you want them to do instead. And it's something that you're going to have to practice over and over. And the best time you can practice a replacement behavior with a student with ADHD or any replacement behavior is not to practice that behavior when they are in that heightened state, especially these kiddos, because everything that they need to use to absorb your information is shut off. Okay. And the most important thing to tell you, which I understand because I have a 10-month-old, is you must demonstrate self-regulation for yourself. It is hard. Find your happy place. Find what makes you happy. Get in there. Turn on the beach in your mind. Feel the warm comfort. Do whatever you need to do. Think mindfulness. Think whatever you need to do. But you need to model self-regulation for your child to be able to control themselves. I know it's very cliche to say the kid's always watching what you do, but if you lash out at them and scream when you are upset in the middle of Walmart because they are making you upset, they see, well, my mom or my dad or my grandmother or my foster mom is reaching out to me that way, so I am going to reciprocate that. Okay. So the most important thing that you can do is self-regulate first. And that might mean for you as a parent, I'm not going to be able to deal with correcting this behavior right now because I need to get my life together. Okay. And that's okay. Take the time that you need, because the time that you give them and explain the replacement behavior and show self-regulation, you are also showing them it's okay to take a step back, take a breather. We teach this at school all the time. And if you've ever gone to any kind of mental health professional, they will say, take time, take a deep breath. count to 10, do anything that you need to do. You need to take care of yourself first before you can take care of your child. I always like to think it's like on a plane when you're going somewhere and they're like, when the oxygen masks come down from the plane, please put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put the oxygen mask on your child. And it really made me upset and nervous thinking like, they're worried about me. I'm worried about my child. You cannot take care of your child on the plane that's going down if you do not have your oxygen mask on. So think of it like that. You need to take care of yourself first before you can worry and take care of your child. All right. So think of oxygen mask, oxygenate yourself first before you do that to your child. Okay. Very important. All right. Next thing is we have a desire for self-direction. People with ADHD prefer to figure things out their own way. You might call that stubborn. You might call that being a leader. These are kids that usually are a leader, whether you want them to be or not, because they are going to do it their own way. Okay. They thrive when they're given the freedom to approach tasks that they are given creatively, rather than being told how to complete the task. Give them a task and understand that they are going to do it their own way. It might not be the way you do it. It might actually be a longer or a more difficult way for them to complete the task. But they want to self-direct themselves and they want to solve the problem, because ADHD brains, when they are turned on, are problem solvers. But we don't always have the most direct way to solve the problem. We might have to go this way and that way and this way and that way, but that is how our brain works. It's an intricate way that they are looking to solve the problem. So at home, when your child is given a task, be patient. Allow for that time, allow for that creativity, which is the way that I'm going to describe it, the way that it's coming out. Provide feedback, if possible, for an out-of-the-box solution, because that's the first thing they're going to go for, is something that you would totally not think. I remember hearing my mom say to me, Kelly, it is so much easier and it would take half the amount of time if you would just do it this way. And I remember thinking, that's not what came to my brain the first time you told me to do this. It didn't even come into my brain until you just told me that now. So then I feel like you're trying to control me when you see that I'm trying to do what you just asked me to do. Okay. ADHDers thrive on creativity and struggle seeing others' solutions during certain times. That also could mean you might be hearing from school that your child is struggling working in groups, or maybe if you have a younger child and they're struggling with sharing. Yes. Or they struggle with doing things like creating or working on a project with a group of people. That is because we have a hard time taking directions from other people. I just want you to see that I can do it my way. This can cause them to be very combative. And I am sure when you are asking them to do something simple in the house and they're not doing it the way that maybe you are in thinking that they would do it, they're going to be combative with you. They are going to start to be verbally escalated. They are going to use words. They might throw objects because their brain, again, is shutting down. So again, the most important thing, if you can remember from anything that I tell you, is put the oxygen mask on yourself first and then help your child. Help your child be less combative, understanding those words, talking them down, being calm. The trick that I like to use with kiddos in the school when they're screaming and yelling and using very floral words at me, I like to whisper, because they definitely want to hear what I'm saying, because they want to engage in an argument. But if they can't hear what I'm saying because my voice is very low, they have to take the level of their voice and bring it down to my voice. Even just for a little bit, I whisper and they'll say, why are you whispering? Because they want to engage in a conflict with you, because they want you to see the things their way. So try lowering your voice. And again, this only works if you have your oxygen mask on. All right, things to know. Overwhelming and task paralysis. When someone gives instructions, it can add to the mental clutter that the ADHD brain already has. Giving instructions leads to them feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. I don't know if you've ever heard of what a task analysis is, but if you can break long tasks into smaller tasks, that is the best way for your child to understand that there might be 10 things in a routine that you need them to do to be completed, like go do your nightly routine, or I need you to pick up your space. What does that entail? Is it putting dishes in the dishwasher? Is it putting dishes in the dishwasher and then going to them to pick up their room, and then they need to go take a shower, and then they need to go brush their teeth? take steps and break them down, because their brain already is hearing things that you're saying, noise in the background, the TV going on. Maybe they have an iPod in or an earbud in. And a lot of times, ADHD brains are thinking about what's next and what's already happened and how we can get things done. It doesn't mean that we're actively doing one thing to finish it. We have 5 or 6 projects open on our brain. Think of it as a computer screen you've opened and you've got 10 tabs open. You are actively working on 10 tabs. I have never been able to actively have 10 activities going on and been able to do them well, because I have to click back and forth. That is what their brain is doing. They have all these tabs open and they're doing a little bit of each tab at a time, and it can be very overwhelmed and they are going to feel frustrated. Reactance. ADHD brains are wired to resist restrictions. Understand, when you are putting restrictions on them, they have the stronger urge to do something opposite, even if it's against their own interest. Remember, an ADHD brain resists you controlling them. See how it's their idea. How can you rearrange the words that you're saying? How can you look at your approach and do something different? Because if you are approaching them and putting a restriction on them, you are causing them to see that you are the only one that has the authority, and they will buck the system and they will cause, again, an emotional outburst that can be very hurtful. And again, you're going to have to put on that oxygen mask and de-escalate that. They are very sensitive to criticism. Being told what to do can feel like criticism. ADHD brains can often interpret suggestions as a sign they're failing or they're not doing enough. So imagine if someone was to look at you and say, you're just not doing enough, whether it's at your job or as a parent. That's what their brain is telling them. You're not doing enough. You're failing. And this makes them shut down. Often younger children will not respond for a brief period of time. If you have a child that in the fight, flight, or freeze, and you ask them a simple question after they've resisted you, and they say absolutely nothing to you, and they give you that stare, that is them shutting down. Their brain is shut down. They are not responsible again. Their brain is not interpreting what you're saying. Those neurons aren't firing, and they are shutting down because they are not able to understand what's going on. And to be very honest, it is a lot better feeling when you think about it. Some children are going to say ugly words and hurtful things that are going to hurt you. Other children are just not going to respond to you at all. And that can be very frustrating when you need a simple answer to a question, probably to make them be in a better place. But that part of the brain is shut down. That part of the brain is off and it's not ready to understand what you are saying. So that is all the information.